Good old Larry Fink has done it again, guys.
Blackrock is stepping into the RWA field. And if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you know we've covered the best RWA protocols and we do all the research to help you stay ahead of the curve. So in this video, we're going to talk about some breaking news from Blackrock and proof that they're stepping into the RWA narrative. And we're just going to give you guys our thoughts. We're going to share some details. So this is definitely a video you don't want to miss. And if you get value, consider subscribing, drop a like, drop a comment, and share with a friend. You ready to hop into it?
Let's do it. And guys, I'm not trying to toot our own horns over here. Okay, maybe a little bit. But look, here's the thing. We literally said that we have a focus on projects that will attract institutions inevitably. This is that point in which it is happening. And we've been talking about this for longer than we've been on YouTube, for one. So we've been talking about this forever, guys. And now we have the largest asset manager in the world, aka the government's asset manager, hopping into a space that we've been harping on for the longest. So guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy your time. So I'll just quickly sum up what
You just queef out of your mouth?
I don't know what happened. It's like a blob. Just to quickly sum up what Blackrock actually is, because on the surface, they're an asset manager. When you start getting deeper, you realize how essential they are to the plumbing of the United States, actually. But we'll save that for another video. They're the largest asset manager in the world. They have $10 trillion, probably more than that, under management. Just in their real estate fund alone, they have $39 billion. They're invested into a myriad of industries, pretty much everything you could think of. And they're also a conduit for the Fed. When it comes to the Fed buying securities and whatnot, mortgage-backed securities, as well as treasuries, they use companies like BlackRock, and BlackRock themselves, they're a huge SPV, special purpose vehicle, for the Federal Reserve. And so they're an integral part of our system. So if you hear news about Larry Fink and BlackRock, it might be worth paying attention if you're an investor.
All right, guys. So the news is BlackRock is launching a tokenized asset fund, right? And if you've paid attention to Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, you've heard him talk about how excited he is to tokenize all assets.
We believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
So a few days ago, BlackRock released the news that they're launching a new tokenized asset fund. So they partnered with a company called Securitize, which is an asset tokenization firm, to launch this product. And it's called the USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund. Pretty shitty name, but it is BlackRock. So, a lot of people are speculating as to what assets or projects they're going to be holding within the fund. Before I get into that, just a few details. BlackRock already sent $100 million in USDC to the fund. And here's proof of that. You can see that it says this address is claimed to be the BlackRock Digital Asset Fund. You can see they got some ETH for gas and they have over $100 million in there. Now, if you click on it, you can see the $100 million in USDC, but they also, for some reason, people just send them meme coins. I always thought this was weird, but people are weird. Like, remember when Kylie Jenner was close to becoming a billionaire and people were sending her money just because they wanted to see her become a billionaire? I don't know why people do this, but if I had meme coins, I would just keep them to myself. So we just showed you the Ether scan. So it's probably obvious that this fund is going to be tokenized on the Ethereum blockchain. So here's the crazy thing. At the beginning of the video, we said that we think that they're going to be investing into RWA protocols. Why do we believe that? So we've heard Larry Fink, obviously, like you saw in the video, talk about how he's excited about tokenizing stocks, tokenizing bonds, like pretty much tokenizing everything that he can. So if they're launching a tokenized fund and they're a large finance company, it's not crazy to think that they're going to be investing into decentralized finance protocols that are kind of doing what they do or doing similar things to the projects that they invest into in Web3. So projects like Pendle Finance that's helping bring bond stripping on chain. Projects like maybe Maple, maybe Centrifuge that's doing private credit, borrowing and lending. If you look at a financial economy, there are certain products that have to be in place for the economy to function. You need derivatives, you need brokerages and exchanges, you need a currency, you need payment rails, you need bonds, you need stocks, like you need all of these things. So I personally think that Blackrock is going to invest in a lot of the protocols, maybe all of them, maybe some of them, definitely some of them that we cover here on this channel. And you have to have $100,000 in order to invest into this fund. So this is for the big players. So guys, one of my favorite quotes by Warren Buffett is, he said, in the short term, the market is a voting machine. In the long term, the market is a weighing machine. This is a perfect example of that. If you look at this index, this is showing the market cap for all meme coins. You can see that it's 61.9, basically $62 billion in market capitalization for projects that have zero intrinsic value, zero. Like this market cap is larger than Spirit Airlines and companies with hundreds of thousands of employees and millions of dollars in revenue. However, if we look at the real world asset market capitalization, protocols that are actually going to be adopted consciously or unbeknownst to most people by the billions of dollars, the RWA market capitalization is only $5.6 billion.
And that's with a pump.
And Pendle Finance has over $2 billion locked on their protocol alone. Centrifuge has done hundreds of millions in loans. So has Maple. So has Clearpool. So has Goldfinch. So, like, man, right now people are speculating, trying to go after what's hot. But eventually, like I said, short term, the market's a voting machine. The long term, it's a weighing machine. Eventually, the fundamentals are going to weigh in. And we think real world assets is going to be the largest narrative, in my opinion. It may not be the sexiest, but when you have companies like Blackrock behind it, like, bro, a rising tide is going to raise all ships. And here's the crazy thing. BlackRock has a large percentage of a lot of the companies on the S&P. And they like to do that so that they can have control. You don't think that they're looking at these crypto market caps, 330 million, 430 million, 1 billion in Ondo, which we made a video on? You don't think they're looking at these protocols, like licking their chops because they know that they're essentially going to be able to do like a hostile takeover kind of thing to where they'll be able to invest a lot, own a large percentage of the company, and then have a say in how DeFi works? Like, hey, maybe that's not good from an ethical, philosophical standpoint, but from a money-making standpoint for us, that is fantastic.
So I'm actually going to give you a little pushback. So I do think with BlackRock, I don't think they're going to invest shit into a Ondo or a Maple Finance or a Goldfinch, actually, as much as I like those projects. I don't think they're going to invest into it. And the reason is because there's going to have to be a player in the real world asset space that's actually abiding by the US regulatory framework. None of the projects that I stated above do so. And so BlackRock wouldn't put money into those guys long term or in any meaningful way. Let me say that. They may do something under the table, but in any meaningful way, I don't think they would do that. They would either create something, which I don't think they want to do. They would rather wait until someone already is abiding by the US regulatory framework. So that way it's a seamless transition. And BlackRock don't have to deal with any other regulatory hurdle. They don't want to deal with that, which is why they waited to file their spot ETFs for ETH and Bitcoin. Trust me, their ETH is going to get approved too, believe me. So yeah, I don't think they're going to actually invest into, once again, a Maple, a Goldfinch.
What do you think they're going to buy?
I don't know. There's going to be something that gets approved in the U.S. because it abides by the U.S. regulatory framework, like I said.
A protocol?
Like a certain protocol. Yeah, there's going to be an RWA protocol that follows our regulatory framework at some point. At some point.
So you think they
That's
seeded
the
the
one.
100 million and they're just waiting?
No. This 100 million is not to invest in some fucking project. It's to invest. That's for them. I don't know exactly what for. That's for them. If I had to speculate on what they're planning on tokenizing, it's going to be assets that they already hold. Obviously, they're not going to focus on someone else's assets. They got 10 trillion of them. And so real estate is obviously going to be one of the assets that they tokenize. You can look at the company Realio that they're also gearing up to work with in terms of real estate tokenization. Now, they're more bringing asset management on chain, kind of like a software as a service type business. But, you could basically bring private equity, real estate tokenization, any type of tokenization on chain. So a company like that, that's more of like an infrastructure, and maybe they can build something on top of that, or a company builds something on top of that, and they acquire that company, or they build it out themselves because it's already abiding by the U.S. regulatory framework. That's something I can see them stepping into versus investing their money into a Maple and all these other projects that we keep naming. But that's not to say that all these RWA protocols, because of BlackRock's validity stamp, they're going to pump no matter what. And so they're still great investments. I just wouldn't look at it as fundamentally part of the reason I'm buying them is because BlackRock's going to buy them. No. Part of the reason I'm going to buy them is because BlackRock solidifying themselves in a space as much as they have is only bullish for these other protocols. Plus, here's the reality, guys. Somebody disagree with me if you want, but you can't argue with me on this. RWA, real world asset tokenization, will probably be the largest market in capitalism that there is. Think about how many assets there are in the world. Period. Assets there are in the world. Not real estate, not stocks, everything. Now imagine bringing everything on chain. Now everything's not going to be on chain. But even a small percentage of that, it's going to be crazy. And obviously, eventually, as humans, we start to snowball effect to the point where that thing will eventually become infrastructure. And I just have to believe that assets on chain, because it makes more sense from a security standpoint, from a record keeping standpoint, from an immutability standpoint, from a composability standpoint, transferability. Everything. Everything is better on chain when it comes to real world assets. And so that's how I look at it, 100%.
I do think they're going to buy some of the protocols, to be honest.
Why?
I think they see the writing on the wall. Like, think about it this way. They filed for the ETH and Bitcoin ETF before it was like regulatory clarity. But them approving it added to the regulatory clarity.
Well, because, bro, they're BlackRock. They have ears to the wind. They know which direction things are going to at all times.
For sure.
And
I
so
agree.
they knew that approval was coming. That's the only reason they filed. They were not uncertain. 100%.
I'm not saying that.
It's even strategic with Larry Fink coming out and discussing tokenization, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these things at the time he did. This is a guy who said he wouldn't want to touch it years ago, or I wouldn't want to comment on it, or whatever the hell he said years ago. And he did a full 180. He loves it. This is the future, according to him.
I can see BlackRock really loving Pendle Finance. 100%.
I agree. The idea, not the actual project, because it's not available in the U.S. That's the only reason. If it was, I'm 100%
All of
with
their
you.
products aren't available in the U.S. Some of
The most important one is not available in the U.S.
So institutional investors, it's not uncommon for them to, like what fucking FTX did, spin up some kind of fund overseas just so they can use it. Because, bro,
100%.
we know bond stripping is huge. And if people can speculate on future yields as well, especially with how we know interest rates are going to be for the next 20, 30 years, they're going to be really high and predictable. Like, bro.
Higher than they have been.
Yeah. I think even if it's a small amount, I think they're going to start speculating on these protocols. They know that DeFi is going to be a big thing. They already have a Bitcoin and ETH ETF. I think they want to be ahead of the curve. They might not go all in. Actually, I don't think they'll go all in because that's risky. But I think they'll speculate on a few. And I think that the investors that invest with them will be asking them to do it as well. Just like people were asking for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs and products to get access to through their 401ks and things like that.
Okay, let me rephrase. I don't think they'll put any institutional funds into these projects, but there are going to be guys who are part of BlackRock who's like, let's try this out. Maybe they got a small pool to the side, but just of the team, like, hey, let's try this out. They're not going to put any of their clients' funds into a Pendle Finance, into anything like that. That's just how I think. I can't see them buying it, but I know that they are looking at them like, whoa, like, bro, if they looked into Pendle, yeah, I can see them looking at that, looking at bond stripping, thinking about loving the idea of separating the two on chain, going long the yield because you think yields are going to rise, or going long the value of the bond or the principal token because you think the price of bonds are going to go up, whatever their forecast would tell them. So I could see them loving that. I just can't see them risking anything in terms of a blemish on their reputation by investing, especially clients' funds, into anything that doesn't abide by the regulatory framework of the United States.
I wouldn't be surprised if they spin off a fund somewhere else and then they invest into that fund and have that fund have like a lot of stable investments but a small amount. Kind of like what JP Morgan did.
I can see, look,
like
we're getting to a middle ground.
It's not going to be obvious like, oh, BlackRock's holding Maple Finance.
No, it will be an SPV, special purpose vehicle, but with a team. There are no clients' funds. I think that's where we would meet perfectly in the middle, right there. So they would invest in these protocols, but not clients' funds.
I think, okay, probably not clients' funds, but maybe profits from clients' funds. Some BlackRock funds that they have somewhere.
So also, you got to think, they're not trying to make money at this point. They're about control,
for sure,
and preservation. And so that's why they love treasuries, for example. Even in equities, their exposure is limited to ETFs. They love preservation. It's just that simple. They work with the Federal Reserve. They can't have anything go wrong. Nothing. And so I can't see them taking that risk with like, yo, Joe, you know what? I've been looking into this project overseas. Very small. But look, you've been our client for years, buddy. I was thinking about moving $250 million over to that project. What do you think about that? Joe's going to be like, actually, he's probably going to be like, you know what? Go ahead. It's BlackRock.
He's probably be like, what kind of ice cream do they use?
Yeah, no, but for real, he don't care. It's BlackRock. Larry Fink, oh, go ahead, Larry. You good. If Larry loses that money, now you got Jay Powell involved. He said, Larry, I thought the efficacy of your business was overstated, but I see, therefore, I was wrong. Jay Powell gets involved. Now everything goes to shit. So I just don't see him investing into it once again. But, I don't want to get stuck on that because they will have some type of exposure to these projects. We just don't know exactly how, and it's not going to be clients' funds.
And it's not going to be obvious. Except
not at all.
Yeah, actually not at all.
Not
There'll be a large increase in liquidity. Like I will go on a whim and say that if meme coins can reach a $62 billion market cap, I think RWAs will reach at least this cycle $200 billion market cap.
I'm being conservative. Yeah, I was gonna say $100 billion.
I would say at least $200 billion market cap. Because it's gonna
that's a pretty good range between 100 and 200 billion.
Because it's gonna be protocols like I think Pendle will get to a $15-20 billion market cap on its own, right? Centrifuge, probably Ondo too. As weird as it sounds, watch our video if you want to know why we say that.
Guys, I'm just gotta be real. So I feel like supply.
You don't have to be. You don't.
No, supply and demand imbalances have been in the forefront of our brain when it comes to bonds, when it comes to Bitcoin. And it's going to be the same thing it's the same thing now with RWAs. A lot of these projects, they have a good amount of assets on chain, either tokenized, and you could say TVL. Like they have a very good amount of TVL, usually outpacing the volume. And also, it's usually in the billions. What did you say Pendle had? You said it.
Over $2 billion
right now,
in TVL.
Right now, they have that. So you can only imagine that is the supply-demand imbalance, and we have spotted a market inefficiency in the fundamental value of these projects. And so that's why we're so bullish on them. Not financial advice, guys, just a suggestion. But that's why we're very bullish on RWAs, because those supply-demand imbalances exist in way more places than we look. Last thing I'm going to say here, guys. Now, I don't think I've ever talked about this as much, but I've been super bullish on Ethereum for years and years and years and years and years. Extremely, way more bullish than I was on Bitcoin. And it's because I actually see the utility in Ethereum. It's pretty obvious at this point. I don't need to explain it. Now, the only thing that this confirms to me, guys, BlackRock building this fund on Ethereum's chain, at minimum, for me, I need to increase my broad exposure to the Ethereum ecosystem and just buy the ETH token. At minimum, long the ETH token. Explore inside, and now you can fluctuate or...
Here's the cool thing. Most of the RWA protocols are built on ETH. Pendle
That's
is
what I'm
on
saying.
ETH.
So now you have exposure to everything, and then you go in the weeds, and now you can start being long, short, going on the protocols, being a LP. So yeah, guys, super bullish on Ethereum, super bullish on RWAs, and I'm gonna let my mans right here carry us out.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
All right.
Say no. Guys, that's pretty much it. If you want to know our top RWA protocols, just go through the channel. Follow me at Crypto Noah as well. I give take profit strategies and yield farming strategies on them, how to turn a small amount to a large amount and how to accumulate them passively. If you want to learn how to do that, click the link in the description and book a free strategy session as well. We have a flagship course that goes through all of this stuff.
Also, subscribe to my YouTube page, J Mansion. I give you all types of information on the macroeconomy, sometimes educational, like I just did a video on the repo market, breaking that down. But I also give you real-time data, keeping up with the Fed and everything that they do, and I'm a translator for you. Because, you know, Fed speak is a real thing.
But other than that, like I said, if you got value, subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you on the next one.